Hello? Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much. I am honored and privileged to be moderating this panel today with some amazing experts who are going to share their knowledge with us. In order to make the best use of our time together, I'm just going to give a quick introduction to everyone so that we can move on and hear all the amazing information they have to offer to us today. I need my glasses. First of all, we have Dr. Sultan Al-Mutri. He's the director of the Digital Heritage Program at the Royal Institute of Traditional Technical Arts, where he works to bridge culture, heritage, design education, and innovative digital mythologies. His academic and consulting roles focus on integrating future-ready technologies with traditional knowledge systems to build sustainable, locally grounded education models in the region. Dr. Cecilia Maria Balleranero is a linguist, storyteller, and ed tech innovator whose company EchoEd is redefining how learners experience language through immersive sound movie storytelling. Her mission-driven work empowers UAE schools and universities to embrace creativity, accessibility, and human-centered innovation at the heart of education. Nina Alag Suri is the founder and CEO of XOPA AI, a pioneer in ethical AI-powered talent solutions used by governments, enterprises, and leading academic institutions worldwide. A serial entrepreneur with over 25 years of global leadership, she's transforming the hiring and the admissions through data-driven, bias-free decisioning across both industry and higher education. Mansoor Karhani leads the training department with AITS, where they build, deliver, and train in digital transformation, automation, and industrial software for industries and government entities across the UAE, the GCC, and the Middle East, from O&G and energy to smart cities, F&B and infrastructure. His work sits at the intersection of innovation, workforce, and academic readiness, helping organizations, engineers, managers, and students build the skills and the knowledge they need in a new industrial era. Karmisha Tak, amazing, CEO, founder, and motivational speaker for Karm's Charms. She's a dedicated founder, mentor, and motivational speaker, committed to empowering young women worldwide. As the visionary behind Karm's Charms, she leads with a heart-centered approach, research-informed approach that supports girls' mental, emotional, and social growth. Through programs like a Lovely Ladies Mentorship Program and Lady Charms Enrichment Camp, with over 16 years' experience, she creates spaces where women can grow and thrive. From Washington, D.C. to South Africa, Jamaica, and beyond. She's also the co-founder of Young Women of Tomorrow Summer Summit. And Professor Captain Frederick James Francis, CEO of the World Maritime CSPTE Limited. So to get us all started, and I can stop talking, I'd love to offer them all an opening question. And if you could just start off with a 1 to 2 quick rapid response so we can get into some big discussions. I'll just pass the mics down. Start with you. When you think about innovation in the UAE's educational landscape, what does it look like in your day-to-day work, and why does it matter for learners or for society in general?
Good morning, everyone. Morning, Naitha. Lovely to be here. UAE, as we know, has a very strong agenda for AI incorporation, the Vision 2030. I myself moved here a year back, from the UK, and our company is headquartered in Singapore. So we've seen the global landscape, but the adoption levels, the hunger for AI incorporation into institutes, universities, and enterprise is just phenomenal. So it is transforming not just the way education is being delivered, but also the way AI is being used for admissions and for employment. So yes, exciting times.
Thank you so much.
I like to think that, research helps us understand that AI is here. It's already ever fast, and it's something that we have to catch up with. So we have to continue to be agile with everything that we do when it comes to AI, and understanding that, it's a global effort, not only just here in the UAE, but internationally as well. And so we have to take the time to be able to catch up to AI as it continues to grow each and every moment.
Thank you so much.
Hi, everyone. Now, regarding the innovation and how we are using it day per day, you can see now the region here, UAE and GCC in general, they are jumping very fast into AI and digital twins, digital transformation, and there is a new terminologies coming. I don't know, it was every year, now it's every week. So being in an industry that working in the industrial software, we have to follow up what having been in the industry very fast from smart cities and these things. How to apply it in education? We have to bring these tools into the universities. I'm not very expertise in schools, so I will talk more about the universities and this part and the business, how we can link between those two.
Thank you.
Well, to me, I think two things is most important. First, to recognize the challenge of adoption for the educators. And the second thing is to recognize or motivate ourselves with the opportunities, amazing opportunities to surpass these challenges. And not only AI, but other technologies. One was mentioned here, the digital twin, for example, that developed in the construction, and many other technologies that could improve education a lot. And we will touch on these subjects during the session. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so all I say is this: innovation challenges us to rethink how education would be. So it's not just about the UAE, because UAE is global with the international schools. So what we need to do is how we would actually sometimes, when we learn, we need to also relearn and unlearn. Plus, we must understand that the concept of the students have changed from the time of the multi-generational for the baby boomers, and now we have the Gen Z. So the thinking and what they want, the creativity, and again, when you talk about the intrinsic and extrinsic motivation, all this will purposefully do it. And for me, I do things on a very global level. So when you train people in the normal education, it's about being work ready. That is already there. My purpose is to provide the foundational soft skills to make them life ready, and the concept of the X factor to make them be world ready. That's what I do in many countries. Thank you.
Good morning, and thank you for this question. In my day-to-day work, my mission, my purpose is to make alive literature again. We were talking a lot about artificial intelligence, which is let's say the main topic I see in these days. But in my case, I work a lot with digital orality. When I think about how I learned literature many years ago, I realized, and also in the previous panel, we were talking about how to integrate innovation. We cannot use the same methodology with new tools. What we need to do is to learn again how to teach integrated technology. And this is what I do. I want to teach again literature through digital storytelling. That's my day-to-day.
Amazing. Hold on to the microphone there, and I'm just going to start at that end, and we'll come back down this way. So I'm really inspired by your storytelling. I think storytelling is key to making an impact. How can innovation be designed to genuinely improve student engagement and learning outcomes rather than simply just introducing the new technologies?
As I say, and as I was listening before other colleagues talking about how can we teach with this new technology and the new generation, the most important thing is to give the confidence and the right tools to students to create instead of just be passive and memorizing and repeating and understanding. So in few words, be in the low level of Bloom taxonomy. No? So we want to talk about critical thinking, create something. So what I believe is that nowadays, when, for example, I want to teach a literature and let's say a book from the 16th century, and I give the book like this to a student, the student will say, what is this? I don't understand. I don't understand the language. I don't understand the context. How can you pretend that I will tell you something about this book? It's boring. This is what they will say, honestly, especially if we talk about teenagers. But instead, what's about, I tell them, hey, let's take this book and let's make a sound movie about it. So you are going to use artificial intelligence to create a beautiful soundscape. Let's think about how is this character? How do you think the voice would be? How would you interpret his part or her parts? So in this way, we engage the students and they are going to produce the story. And it's very interesting for us, or for professors, for teachers, to see how the same book is interpreted nowadays. And the most important thing is that the student, at the end, when see the product that he or she made, or actually all of them, because it's a group, a teamwork, they will feel like, amazed about themselves. And is like reinventing literature somehow. This is what I believe.
Amazing. Let's see, Professor Captain Frederick, what can mainstream education in the UAE and globally, like you've said, learn from high-stakes, skills-based sectors like your maritime industry about practical, outcome-focused training?
Okay, so practical outcome training, as per what is being done, like the standards of training of the International Maritime Organization, they come up with 3 simple levels: a support level, an operational level, and a management level. But I have reinvented the whole landscape of training to include the last part, the entrepreneurship, and also the specialist level. Because what we really need now is to make people have the foundational soft skills. Why? Technically, it's very easy. And using innovation actually builds on the amplified human. So AI doesn't take over the human. AI is a way of enhancing the specialization of human beings. And that's what we do. So when I was doing a special training for a school, I said, no, stop the English part, and we shall create a center of excellence in human resource development. The Minister of Transport dropped his bags, came to see me and said, I want you to train the whole country, and I want you to train the trainers as well. I told them, training the trainers, I will not change their mindset. Why? Because these teachers are low-level third country, but I can change the mindset of the cadets. But he says, no, we'll put a budget, we want you to train them as well. I said, I'll facilitate a training program for them to follow me based on my skills. But your trainers in your country with 20 over institutions, I cannot transform them. They are not good enough. Maybe I can transform 5%. That's the reality of things. So AI will duplicate my expertise and build on what I think we can help people with. But if you think you can transform all the teachers around the world, no. Some teachers think that being a teacher is a retirement job, and they'll just follow the script in memorization and the normal exam format, which is terrible. So storytelling is what we seafarers do as a seaman, and how I train. So that's how I became a professor and a captain and a commodore. It's the concept of being creative and always making changes without the fear of failure. That's what I do. Thank you.
Thank you. I love how you've added another 2 levels to the basic 3 foundations. I'm going to take that home with me. Mr. Sultan Amutri, from your vantage point in higher education program design, how do you decide, what's your thought process about which innovations are worth integrating into curriculum and which are simply distractions?
Okay, so maybe if you allow me, I can give a quick brief about this domain I'm working on, digital heritage, which is a subdomain of the heritage management. It's for conservators and conservation in general. For the cultural heritage, different elements. So we have the tangible, we have the intangible, different sites. And this specific domain, choosing the technologies that can help the students in their work or the professionals. Also, we have to identify who's the targeted population or people. Is it which background they have, which initial training they have, the current state of technology. As you can see and you can follow that the learning curve have gone down significantly. Also the prices of hardware and also software. So public sector or private sector education institutions, they can acquire these tools and they can transmit it to different backgrounds, while the technologies itself, they evolved in different domains. Some in cinema, some in video game design, some in construction. So these different domains, now we can take some of the technologies that they have that they could service in the education or in different domains. This is one, I can give examples, for example, photogrammetry, which is a very complicated technology. It's transforming pictures to 3D models of sites or buildings. And now it's becoming very easy. We even have applications in our phones that can perform this task. So this is one little example, but many other technologies, and I'm sure my colleagues are going to develop on it. But for the distraction, if it will hinder the student capacity to analyze, to interpret, or the observation in the field and what to focus on, the span of focus, for example, which is a very important aspect, that if we use technology or the technologies that people use currently, it affects this for the students. So we have to balance between innovation and at the same time more traditional ways of teaching.
Oh, thank you so much. Monsieur, you sit at the intersection of business, technology, and learning. What kinds of innovative programs or partnerships are you seeing in the UAE that truly align with both education and the needs of the workforce?
This is actually a big question.
Yeah.
Not only UAE, Saudi, and the region generally in GCC, they have a lots of incentives program to push their people, to learn more and get into this digitalization era. Now, one of these incentives is empowering the local people. We all hear about Emiratization and Saudization, and who knows, maybe later on there will be Qatarization, you name it. The innovation here is a big word of challenge, and we will hear a lot about AI, digital transformation. In the era of universities, they are talking about Industry 4.0. 4.0, it's last year. Now we are in 5.0, so we have to go and find what are the best options. And this is some PhDs base their thesis on these subjects, how to use the technology into the education. I will put you back, let's go back 30 years ago. This is the same question that we are asking today, have been asked 30 years ago when the internet was booming. And we found a lot of professors and doctors and teachers, they are fighting this research. Why you are using Wikipedia? And today, if you can see in social media, some professors today are exploding of anger because using of AI, generative AI. The lesson learned here, you cannot fight the technology. You have to adapt it. Like we adapt the internet, we have to find a different mindset, a different way of education. Colonel here, the captain professor have been talking about it. We cannot teach the same way we taught years ago. As I said, we are, since the internet until today, we are in exponential progress. So even we will be left behind, or we have to use what we have and follow up.
Thank you so much. The AI has definitely left the station and we must get on the train. We have no option. Karmisha, from your work with young people and communities, what have you seen actually shift a learner's confidence or sense of purpose when you introduced your innovative methods? Again, whether that's storytelling, coaching, or digital tools.
Thank you. One of the things that I see the most boosting their confidence is storytelling. Through my media work and my media production work that I've done with the young ladies, I see a boost of energy when it comes to storytelling and in the ways that they choose to do so. We like to always introduce them to different ways to tell their stories and to understand that, you know, it's not cookie cutter the way that I approach each young lady. Everyone has a different story, but to let them be able to tell their story in a unique way through digital storytelling has helped evolve the things that I try to do with them. One of the approaches that we did last year was we made a music video for them to be able to help boost their confidence, but then show who they are, show, you know, some of the things that they're most interested in. And what I saw the most from that project was that everyone was just really excited to be part of it. Some young ladies that were, you know, never really said much through some of our sessions were the most vibrant throughout the creation of the video and the storytelling. But just understanding that everyone is different, understanding that, you know, their voices need to be heard. And how do we do that through AI? How do we do that through media production? How do we do that through storytelling? Because these young people are ready to tell who they are and show up in certain ways, but we have to be the advocates for them. We can't shun we can't shun the things that they're learning now. We can't shun AI. We have to, you know, open our arms to it because that's what they're, you know, used to at this point. And just like you just mentioned, we were having these discussions years ago about the internet, but now we're having the conversations about, you know, AI, and look what the internet has done for us. You know, had we, you know, turned our back to that, we wouldn't be where we are right now, literally. So, you know, just helping them tell their story.
Super, thank you. Nina, how can innovation, particularly AI, be designed to genuinely improve the admissions process and the employment opportunities for the students and participants rather than just introducing a new technology?
Absolutely. I think the first thing to do is to understand what is the role of AI, right? So AI is both can be used for automation and digital transformation and improve efficiency, but also the intelligence that you can get from AI can also help you get evidence-based results to give you better outcomes. So if we look at admissions, especially let's talk about the institutes and the universities. Traditionally, and I think majority of the universities across the globe have been focusing on things like GPA. Which school do you come from? You know, what's your background, and so on. And this can tend to lead to a lot of biases because it is not a measure. Your GPA is not a measure of your success in future, right? So what we, at least you know, from my company point of view, and I know that this is going to be the new trend, is to look at the capability of the student and their potential as opposed to really looking at what they are scoring. You know, I may have an anxiety attack during my giving my exam and I don't do that exam well and I lose a good admission. So things like that. I think AI really helps us look at the student in a more holistic fashion. It creates a more equitable platform for students to compete and gain, gain that advantage. The other thing is it's really important to see, to map how are you doing admissions in universities versus how are employers hiring? If the two work in silos, there's a huge gap, which does exist at the moment, right? If you look at companies are very, very fast and very committed to moving towards skill-based hiring, whereas the institutes are not yet offering that. So how do you offer skill-based education at scale, right? So that you can map it with what the world wants. So that's on admissions for universities. And also, I mean, I don't know about you, but I come, at least back in my country. Every parent wants their child to be a doctor or an engineer, but hopefully that's changed because my son is a music producer now. So we've been a little bit of a wild card, but the student thinks that they are oriented. I'll give you an example, a very interesting example. A student wanting to study economics but has a passion for music. How do you combine the two skills and take a very skill-based approach to make sure that you are offering them employment or internships or co-ops in areas where they will thrive? And this is really setting this foundation stone in a very positive manner, both for the student and the employer, because the outcome is going to be so much more positive. So that's on the hiring side. Admissions. If I look at the schools, it is, from what I hear, it requires massive amount of human resource and a lot of manual work, a lot of interviews with the parents and so on. AI can really help to digitalize all of that to make sure that not only are you, you're not missing out, with any unconscious biases or anything else from that point of view. So really taking a very data approach. So both from admissions, internships, co-ops, and then leading on to grad hiring, I think AI has a massive role to play in improving the employment, but also removing biases, which I think is just so important.
Amazing, thank you. It's lovely to hear that we're looking at young people as more than their SAT scores, their A levels, and all of that, because there are some amazing young people out here who are going to be our future workforce doing great work. Back to you, Celia, Dr. Celia at the end. In multilingual and multicultural classrooms like those in the UAE, how can audio-based tools such as podcasts and immersive storytelling support inclusivity, accessibility, and language development?
Well, I think that audio is the most inclusive modality that we can introduce in the classroom. And in my experience as a researcher and also educator, and especially here in UAE with a multilingual classroom, so with different backgrounds, I found that, for example, when I introduced a podcast in the lessons, students somehow they felt relieved because they could feel autonomous and they could listen according to their pace. It's different if, for example, in a language classroom, let's say Spanish classroom, and I have students from India, from Pakistan, from Italy, from Brazil, from France. It's obvious that students who has a background of a Romance language, they go faster, compared to students that have a far away language, compared to Spanish. So in this way, first they go to their own pace. Second, they can re-listen, stop, and be in charge of their learning process. This is from one side. On the other side, why I say is the most inclusive modality. If we think about students with dyslexia, or students that have visual impairments, or students that have attention challenges, in this way, they have the opportunity, again, to enter to the topic according to their needs, special needs in this case. So in conclusion, what I want to say is the digital audio, podcast, storytelling, digital storytelling, audiobooks, etc., becomes a bridge rather than an obstacle. That's my professional opinion.
I love it. I think podcasts are great. Right. I do not know a lot about the maritime industry at all, but I know it's highly technical, and I know there's a lot of safety involved in there. So how are you using innovative approaches in this environment, such as simulators or immersive environments or AI-driven tools to prepare the next generation of maritime professionals?
Okay, thanks for that. Just like the airline, right? You want to train a pilot to handle a crash. Then you crash the plane. So simulator training is already there, just like with ships. So what's important, like what just now she was answering about the cultural part, people from different countries. So that's what we do. One minister says, oh, my people are very bad in English. They are scared to go globally. Train them. No problem, I said. I will give them functional English under the International Maritime Organization, IMO English, and I use AI. And AI actually does it well. Because AI is not AI taking over. AI is replicating me. So when I have stuff, AI does it for me. But if I put rubbish in, then it's garbage in and garbage out. So in the maritime industry, while they have only 3 levels, I've increased the levels and built up. And to be honest with you, in the past, I only mentor and train CEOs who have lazy sons and daughters who may waste their parents' fortunes. So my job is to actually build up their mindset and create a mindset of responsibility. But now I'm doing it on a global level. So coming back, technically is very easy. What's important is foundational soft skills. So during COVID and before COVID, I already created computer-based learning, then synchronous and asynchronous learning. So what's the new trend? The new trend is asset intelligence. So I've trademarked it. That's why I left my government job of 26 years. And before that, I was sailing for 20 years and 9 commands. So what is asset intelligence? The world needs foundational soft skills. First, it's not emotional quotient, it's not intelligent quotient, it's adversity quotient. When someone falls down, how does that person climb up again or climb higher? Resilience built up with adversity. Second one is social quotient. What happened? Many kids now with their parents, they are all sitting down on their mobile phones. So social quotient teaches them how to use the internet and yet face-to-face as well, and it builds. Then, of course, EQ, I don't doubt that. But EQ is done on a cultural awareness system, depending on the people. And on board ships, you have multinational. I've once been in command of a ship with 7 nationalities. Then I rescued an American captain who had 8 nationalities. I had 15 nationalities on board my ship. So how do we manage that? So EQ. And because of technology now, innovation, I've added TQ, technology quotient. So it becomes asset. The human is the most important. Then I added the S in the middle, success quotient. Look at the glass being half full rather than half empty. So these concepts are really great because people are engaging me. So I make prices crazy because I don't want to run around only, but it builds. And when you talk about Wikipedia, throw it out the window. Wikipedia is not an authority. They don't even know how many islands Singapore has. They say 64. We only have 39 islands. So Wikipedia is very flawed. Why don't I correct them? Why should I? I'm the expert. Pay me and I'll help you. So that's my answer.
Thank you so much, Mr. Sultan Al-Mutri. I really reflected on what you said a minute, and it reminded me of when you said we take a picture and we make a huge, product now from that. My grandson takes a picture of a turtle and he makes me a 3D printed turtle these days. So how can universities and academic programs across the region support the teachers and the faculty to integrate and innovate methods? Do we use gamification, mobile learning, digital storytelling so that the innovation becomes sustainable, or can that be rather overwhelming?
Okay, so to support the faculty, a problem that we have in universities, a general problem, that most of the domains or sciences or colleges, they work independently, and we can say that they work in silos without interact with other disciplines. And in this discipline, we need different experts that come from different experiences and different backgrounds, so we can select and advance discussions where we can discover the synergies or the intersections, and we can help each other. Sitting here right now and listening to the examples my colleagues have given us, for example, Dr. Cecilia, she works with audio and storytelling using audio. I can think in the heritage sector, for example, one of the most important components or elements, which is the oral history here in our region. And this part, we teach the students how to use the microphones and how to make high fidelity recordings, and then to use this raw data with an innovative way in dissemination. Because also, yes, I should have mentioned this the first time, we have 3 pillars in digital heritage, which is documentation, archiving, and then dissemination. But it's based on the documentation and the high fidelity of this documentation. So imagine the impact that it will do. Same for Captain Francis, his way in using simulations. I imagine that it has a 3D component. So the 3D component, it looks like what my students produce from sites, and the power that it has, this digital assets that we are creating. So the challenging part, how can we raise the adoption by faculty members, by getting them together and also working together. This is just an example, sitting down in this panel with great colleagues doing great work around the world, how many ideas we can discover. So I think dialogue is the answer for this.
Thank you so much. Monsieur, how can private sector organizations work with schools and universities so that innovation is co-created, co-produced, and sustainable, rather than just that bolted-on add-on as a short-term project?
Again, a big question. I'm a nostalgic person, so let's go back to the first year of our graduation, when we all, if not most of us, have been in the loop. You need experience to gain to have a job, and then you need to have a job to gain experience. This loop is a question that it's over asked. Now, this is where the private sectors can come in. Universities is more about academic, and the way it is designed this way, it's a little bit static because they built on legacy. They have a curriculum. Institutes are one step toward the business. However, in the other side, the business is very pragmatic. I don't have a time for the academy part. I need experience to do my job. And here where come the sectors, when they have, like in AITS, what we are doing, the training departments, why should we only train our tools? Let's start to answer this question of this dilemma. We have our clients, food and beverage, oil and gas, those companies and factories. And we can go to the universities and create some programs in cooperation with the institutes. Let's build up, and this is what we came up with, a time program. It's a program that with universities, let me bring some of your teams, let me understand if you can give me some of the training or course with the institute, and I will put him with our client for 6 to 1 year, gaining experience, assisting him, give him certification on tools that he can use it. So he will graduate with 1 year experience, with certifications, and we can help him, maybe we'll promote him to find a job. These programs that, fortunately, here in this region, there is a lot of incentives from the government, but the government, they can fund it. But the program must be done with the private sectors.
Thank you so much. So with your young ladies, Karmisha, and your students, a lot of them may be facing some disadvantages, trauma, low confidence. How do we ensure that innovation doesn't leave them behind, but instead becomes a tool for hope, inclusion, and resilience?
Thank you. Talk to them, talk to the students. That's a big thing. Just making sure that you actually meet them where they are and walk with them to where they need to get to. Understanding that, like I've said multiple times, AI is ever changing how we see things, how we work, how we, come to the table with ideas. But we're also able to incorporate the youth by speaking to understand what it is that they need, understand the things that can assist them in certain ways, making sure that their voices are continuously heard. I think that that is certainly a vital thing, something that I've learned working with the youth over the years, even with myself included. More so the reason why I even started my program, making sure that, understanding that my voice, I felt like my voice wasn't heard when I was younger. But now incorporating that with young girls around the world, making sure that they're understood. Just like I said, just meeting them where they are and taking them where they need to be, but also incorporating AI at the same time. And, we have some amazing colleagues here that have done some amazing things with the youth, and just continuing to add, certain aspects into their lives, I think is important.
You're speaking my language. Recovery coaches meet people where they're at, and they help them get to where they want to be.
Absolutely.
So, yeah. Nina, from your perspective, what are 1 or 2 common mistakes that institutions make when they rush to adopt AI or automation in their admissions or their campus selections?
I mean, the first thing first, the tendency is to look at capability, right? And we forget their compatibility. I think it's really important to make sure that when you are looking for that match, whether it's an internship and the student or it's a admission, take into consideration both capability, so that look at the skills and the potential of the students, but also look at their compatibility. Will they be compatible with the culture of the company? Not everybody's cut out for a startup, or not everybody's cut up for a corporate career. So it's really important to make sure that you also take into consideration where will they thrive, what is their mindset, and what is their nature, so that there is no conflict between the environment, the role, the culture of the company, and the student. And ultimately, we all want the best for both. So I think that's one of the big things which is quite overlooked most of the time, and that needs to be incorporated.
Thank you so much. I am mindful of everybody's time and how valuable it is, so I'd just like to wrap up with one question for everyone on the panel. So if you could give one practical piece of advice to educators, decision makers in the room, in the UAE, or globally and beyond, who want to make innovation meaningful and inclusive in their personal context, what would it be? Do you want to start?
I would highly recommend that the universities and institutes work with the industry. Bring it into your program. Don't wait for the final year. You can start from year one. The moment the students join the university, to get them acquainted with internships and co-ops. Like Monzer said, it's a vicious circle. You need experience to get a job and vice versa. So start early, and in the 4 years, 5 years program, your student is really cut out to have that experience of working in the real world.
Thank you so much.
I'd also like to agree with what you just shared. Just being a former student, understanding that never-ending cycle, and then also still working with the youth today. They have to have the experience, but they have to get the job. So we have to, figure out a way to be innovative in that manner. But then also working with industry, like you said, it's some amazing industry partners that I know, and then there are some amazing universities out there, but connecting the two so the students can have the opportunity to learn certain things that are out here in the real world and just get them ready to just move forward.
Thank you so much, Monsieur.
It's not an advice, but it's something that every one of us should have it, not just educator, in life. Learn every day. Knowledge is knowing that you don't know anything. This is, I think, Albert Einstein said it. The day that you said, I know, is the day that you start to fall. Always learn. Every week you must to have something new, to learn something new. And especially in this era, when I saw it in my bare eyes, the technology, how it's evolved, because I'm working there, like 5 generations in the last 10 years. So we have to learn to keep it there.
Thank you.
Well, it's getting difficult now because we're at the end here and most of the ideas are gone. But maybe to emphasize the point of my colleague here, which is always learn, that learning and continuous learning is not a one-off operation that we learn something about. And it's not also in a long period. It's not a sprint. It's not a marathon. It's longer than that. It's just a way of life. Self-development, 10%, 15% of our time should be concentrated for self-improvement and learning new things and getting together with other disciplines or other specialities where we can discover more and improve our work. Another point, I'm sorry, Captain Francis, I'm going to make it harder for you, but it's one of, actually, I'm going to quote what he said in the beginning, don't be afraid and try new things and also make mistakes, because if you're not making mistakes, it means you're not working. So we have to try. But yeah, at the same time, we follow the guidelines of our organizations if they allow that we make mistakes or not, otherwise, yeah. So this is something for all educators. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. So cannot make mistakes because companies are very unforgivable. Okay, but anyway, what I can say with innovation, it builds a future on possibilities. UAE leads it. So what is the X factor that people keep calling me to do? My X factor, I must thank the lady from the language literacy. She showed a graph of someone learning from a normal educational part where the person doesn't learn so much, the brain doesn't move much. Then when the kid was doing psychometric learning, the brain was moving more. So what is my X factor? Companies call me, they pay me a lot of money because what I do is semiotic walks and cruise. I'm an Angolan multimillionaire. He flew his children all the way to Singapore to train his wife and his kids. And I added the semiotic cruise. What is semiotic? Looking around the room, I teach people to understand the concept of being able to be aware of your surroundings and using that application of learning. So AI is not a dirty word. AI does the 4Ds. What is dirty, what is dangerous, what is dull, and what humans don't want to do. But what I've given, the X factor, is semiotic walks and cruises. It provides that ability for the brain to move and function more. So with innovation, it gives us the tools to bring our vision in a direction where humanity has a purpose and where technology serves people And the skills that provides the life ready and world ready is the asset intelligence that I actually trademarked and created. And I believe that with that, and UAE putting on all these concepts, the human-centric learning with innovation brings UAE and the global scale to a level that will bring humanity to where it needs to be. That's my point.
Thank you.
Well, I am the last one, and I don't want to be redundant or repeating, but I would like to share my personal opinion according to my experience as a researcher and educator, that I believe I have seen that innovation succeeds, whatever we are talking about, artificial intelligence, gamification, all this, whether it is, succeeds when teachers, leaders, edtech producers, editors, and researchers work together. So, and there is a pedagogical alignment. So if I am a teacher and I am implementing some specific tool in my class and I give a feedback to an edtech, say, listen, this is working, this is not working. And at the same time, a researcher at university is writing a paper and start to collect the data, then with this synergy, we can make the difference. Otherwise, it's just a tick off. Say, I apply this just to follow a trend. That's.
We don't want tick boxes. We want the real thing. I cannot express my gratitude enough to these amazing panelists for your time management, sharing your expertise and knowledge with us today, and to the audience for staying here and listening to everybody. Please, we hope we've planted some seeds for thought for moving forward through the conference and beyond when you leave. Thank you all so much.